Alright, so ghost calling. I'm going to try and do this as quickly as possible. So when you're using the ghost, ideally you want to be using callout maps and areas on those callout maps. So for example, this is warehouse on thread plate, everybody knows this. If you say, hey, there's 2 in warehouse when you're calling with the ghost, that's really simple, everybody gets that immediately. You say, hey, there's 1 in suicide, boom, done. Everybody knows where that is on the map, you're set. Now there might be situations where, hey, you're not exactly sure where they are on the map based on how far they are. Maybe it's a more complex map. Maybe you're just not as familiar with ghost calling. Regardless of the reason, if you're not quite sure what the callout is for where they are based on distance, you can just say, hey, there's one 30 meters southeast of me. There's one 30 meters east of me, etc. Right? Now remember, this is going to be kind of slow and clunky, and it's going to be kind of vague. The reason why I say it's going to be slow and clunky is based on where your teammates are, the compass is going to be different, right? If I'm here in warehouse, then east is east of me here, east of me away over here, and suicide is going to be different, right? So your teammates are going to have to look at the compass, they're going to have to compare where you are versus where they are and kind of guesstimate where the enemy is based on that, so that's why it's clunky. That's also why it's slow, because you have to devote like thought process to actually figuring it out. So that's why if you're going to use compasses, if you can do specific stuff like they are directly 30 meters east of my position, right, that can be more specific. Basically, the more specific you can get with your callouts, the better. Just remember, the more specific you're getting with these callouts, the more you're losing attention of the whole map as a whole. There's a lot of players left, like there's 5 players left, and you're focusing on one of them. Those other 4 players are going uncalled, which is fine, which is good. It means that it increases the chances of somebody slipping around you, right? Getting outside of your vision of the ghost and flanking you when you're not paying attention. So that's why it's recommended to do ghost calling when there's less players live, just to make it easier on you. That said, as I said, the more specific calls you can do, the better. So for example, if you say they're going down suicide right now, so it's a very specific call, you know where they are and you know the direction they are going, so everybody knows what's happening. If you say, hey, if you go down suicide, they're immediately to your left, boom, you know where your team knows where to look. And they're like, you know, if you say, hey, they're directly in front of you, easy. If you say, hey, they're going to be on your left, these directional calls are to specific teammates of specific locations, are going to give you the best chances to succeed, right? If you say, hey, when you come out of T-junction, there's one peeking on the left and then there's one on the right, they'll know not to peek here because you know both sides, right? Basically, in a nutshell, use the ghost, use specific callouts on the map with the ghost. When that fails, use the compass, but try and do that sparingly, and even when using the compass, try and be more specific with it, like they're 30 meters west of my position and closing, or they're bunny hopping towards me northwest 30 meters, right? If you can give more details within that call, it can be helpful. And then use more specific calls to specific teammates when you can, right? Porpoises, for example, at the bottom of suicide here, say, hey, when you come up of suicide, they're going to be immediately on the right. Or there's one at flatbed at the exit. You know, basically just be more specific, all right? Okay, thanks, bye.